Live from our studios at number 5, Ola Hansen Lane at Bortianor here in Accra. This is the Channel One Newsroom here on Channel One TV. Coming up.
And other economic activities.
Homeowners at New Bortianor forced to abandon homes as years of erosion creates life-threatening gullies. And later, government urged to focus on aggressive job creation after successfally completing a $3 billion external credit facility program with the IMF.
Political merry-go-round is not helping anybody. Okay. There are real lives at stake. 500,000 of our youth are joining the employment bond every year. There are no jobs for them, and they will not eat inflation, they will not eat reserves, they will eat income.
I'm Charles Owusu Kumi, grateful to you for choosing the Channel One Newsroom here on Channel One TV. Let's get into the details now. Help is yet to reach about 300 people affected by a devastating windstorm that struck Jana in the Nanton district of the northern region. Now, more than 10 days after the incident, victims say they are yet to receive any form of relief or support. Our Northern Bureau Chief, Shawana Yusuf, has more.
Residents of Jana are still counting their losses and appealing for support following the first major downpour in the region, which occurred at about 7 p.m. on Tuesday, May 5, 2026. Speaking to Channel One News, residents expressed concerns over what they describe as the silence of government and philanthropists in helping them rebuild their lives.
And our food stuff, like the farm produce, some of them we just pack it in one corner. Then we get some tarpaulin to cover it. That is how we store our products.
Every individual who think it's good to support or supporting is an impact to people's life, they should come to our aid. A lot of people are sleeping without a roof under their head.
Narrating his ordeal, 90-year-old Alhassan Mahama said his children had to secure loan to purchase roofing sheets to repair their damaged house as government assistance has delayed.
Kabimati chang di sama na takpa da ma tukuto malum pa ni ba ayobianu kai sang ba bier yen ni nya to no mal kun se mir mero sama ka te din nang ma plat malayuko da ma ban aku nya do si to kabimara ko jonge ndi sama de chemen la bra yogdin da ba fo
The affected residents say they fear the oncoming rains could worsen their situation if urgent support is not provided to help them repair their homes and prevent further destruction.
So I'm still using the medium to appeal to the government stakeholders, the district NADMO through the regional NADMO to the national NADMO. Please, they need to expedite action so that people can get shelter and can start their farming activities and other economic activities.
My question to government me jisim MP be yimna inye government ko o sorte kati yosha mama.
Now, Vice President Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman has renewed calls for greater African representation on the United Nations Security Council, describing the current global governance structure as unbalanced. Now, speaking at the Oxford Africa Conference 2026 in the United Kingdom, Professor Opoku-Agyeman said global institutions must adapt to changing realities and become more responsive to the needs of African countries. Channel One News' Sarah Pia has more in this report.
The Oxford Africa Conference 2026, held at the University of Oxford, brought together African leaders, policymakers, academics, and students to discuss the continent's future under the theme Anchoring Africa Grounded Leadership in the Age of Disruption. Addressing participants at the conference, Vice President Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman raised concerns over what she described as the continued marginalization of Africa in global decision-making. She added that the absence of meaningful African representation on the United Nations Security Council reflects an imbalance in the global distribution of power.
The continued absence of meaningful African representation within key global decision structures, particularly the United Nations Security Council, remains a source of growing imbalance between the distribution of global power and the structures through which that power is exercised. But legitimacy is shaped beyond representation.
Vice President also cautioned against complacency over recent improvements in Ghana's macroeconomic indicators and institutional reforms. While acknowledging the progress made, she stressed that the country's development agenda remains work in progress and requires discipline and responsible leadership.
It is true that Ghana is beginning to see encouraging signs of recovery and reform. Macroeconomic indicators are improving, investor confidence is gradually returning, and institutional reforms are taking shape. But grounded leadership also means resisting the temptation to celebrate prematurely. Strong results should not produce complacency.
Well, now to NDC politics, the national chairman of the party, Johnson Esiedun Ketiam, has urged party supporters to refrain from criticizing their government simply because they have not personally benefited since the party assumed office. Well, according to him, such comments provide political opponents with ammunition to attack the government and undermine the party's efforts. There's more in this report.
Speaking during his thank you tour of the Daboya Mankarigu constituency, Mr. Esiedun Ketiam cautioned party faithful against the perception that a future administration led by Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia will offer them better opportunities. He stressed that maintaining political power is the first step towards achieving the expectations and aspirations of party members.
The longer we stay in power, the better the chances of everybody realizing their expectation. But if we just get out of frustration and begin attacking our own government, begin running down our government, the rest of Ghanaians will say that even those who brought the government are complaining. So they also join you, and then you work to remove your own government. So whatever you are looking for, which you cannot get now under President Mahama, trust me, you can never get it under Dr. Bawumia.
Mr. Esiedu Nketia emphasized that the government has rolled out several developmental projects across the country, with the Boya Mankaregu constituency benefiting significantly, particularly in the area of road infrastructure development. He noted that these projects demonstrate government's commitment to improving living conditions of residents and fulfilling campaign promises.
You yourselves are testifying that the whole of Daboya Mankaregu has become a construction site. This is just the beginning. This is just 1 year's work. I can promise you that by the end of our 4-year term, things would have changed considerably in Daboya Mankaregu. When I came here, you complained about a hospital. You complained about your roads, and you requested for a training college. At least, I'm sure you have seen some signs of work ongoing.
The district chief executive for North Gonja, Abdullahi Nasiru, corroborated Mr. Esiedu Nketia's remarks, stating that a number of road construction projects have already commenced within the district. According to him, the projects are expected to improve transportation, boost economic activities, and enhance access to essential services for communities in the area.
In fact, the district is more or less, as the president mentioned the other time, is now a construction site. It's a construction site because the infrastructural development is going on rapidly. Our bridge construction is rapidly ongoing, and apart from that, currently we all witness what is happening in our district capital. We have started the construction of the 24-hour economic market. Then the brand new college construction is also taking off. Quite apart from that, we have since constructed a brand new classroom blocks across the district.
Well, away from the NDC now to matters of the New Patriotic Party. Member of Parliament for Ejiso, the Honourable Kobna Boateng, has denied allegations that he is attempting to manipulate the party's polling station elections in their constituency. While some party members and constituency executives fear the process may not be free, fair and transparent amid growing tensions over the handling of party membership registers and composition of the election committee and disagreements over the method to be used in conducting the elections.
Tensions have erupted within the Ejiso constituency branch of the NPP in the Ashanti region following allegations of an attempted manipulation by the Member of Parliament in the ongoing elections. Speaking to the media in Ejiso, the Constituency Research and Elections Affairs Officer Dominic Dankwa stated that unresolved differences between the constituency leadership and the NP Kobna Boateng over the electoral process contributed to the confusion and stalled the elections.
Participation in the recent membership registration exercise was very low in many polling stations across the constituency. Therefore, relying solely on the membership register could disenfranchise many loyal party members and supporters who remain committed to the growth of the party. Such a situation could create resentment, frustration, and apathy ahead of the crucial 2028 elections. The regional rep made us to understand that he has been served with a writ from the MP's group, comprising of 9 executives, who has placed an injunction on the polling station elections. So as of now, the elections is in limbo. Tax have been brought to the party office. We would like to ask, what is the brain behind these macho men manning the party office?
Well, we're joined via telephone by the Member of Parliament for Ejiso at the center of this Ejiso controversy, the Honourable Kobna Boateng. Good evening to you. Honourable, thank you for joining the Channel One Newsroom. I imagine that you were unable to conduct your own polling station elections today. Why Is that so?
Well, that is so. We were unable to conduct the elections primarily due to a pending legal suit, particularly an injunction application which has been served on the regional representative and the party. And as we all know, the law is that once you are served with an application in the nature of injunction, the effect, at least in the interim, is as if it has been granted. So the requirement of law is that we all hibernate, we all stand by till that application is heard by the court. But if you ask me, I will quickly tell you what the issues are.
Right.
The first one has to do with the polling station members register. You would recall that about a month ago, the party opened registers across the country at all polling stations. Mm-hmm. And the indication was that anybody who has any ambition and is minded to contest any internal party position, as far as the polling station is concerned, should go to the polling station and write down their names. And so that exercise was done for a whole month. Party members were charged to sit there and write names. And so when this process started, the understanding was that what the party had said was what was going to, be adhered to. In addition to that, the party issued guidelines and rules to govern the conduct of the polling station elections. We all know that elections are creatures of law. And so anytime, laws regarding elections are jettisoned and they are not used, you find yourself in chaotic situations. Among the rules that were issued by the National Council through the NEC and through the General Secretary are one that is called Guidelines and Timelines for 2026 Polling Station Executive Elections. There's another one that is called Operational Guidelines for Regional Representatives Part 1. There is one that is called a letter on the reviewed guidelines and timelines for 2026 polling station elections. And then the last one are a summary of all the laws at the back of the polling station nomination forms. So as you are selling the forms to the general public, the back of that form has all the rules that are supposed to apply.
Okay.
If you look at Regulation 5 of the guidelines and timelines, this is what it says. And in fact, let me even read it so that you will know the mandatory and imperative nature of that guideline. So it says, for the avoidance of doubt, only members whose details are duly entered in the official membership register at the polling station shall be eligible to vote or contest in the forthcoming polling station executive elections. I repeat, for the avoidance of doubt, only members whose details are duly entered in the official membership register at the polling station shall be eligible to vote or contest in the forthcoming polling station executive elections. It continues to say that failure to participate in this 1 month membership registration exercise shall automatically disqualify a member from voting or contesting in the party's internal elections. It says this registration exercise is mandatory and indispensable to the successful conduct of the party's internal democratic process. I've just read to you Regulation 5 of the guidelines that is governing the conduct of the polling station elections. Now, 4 days to the election, after we were all at agreement that the guidelines would be adhered to the latter, will be implemented to the latter, 4 days to the elections, the regional rep calls a meeting of myself and the constituency executive and tells us that although he is aware of what the guidelines is, he has been instructed by some elements in the Ashanti region. He has been instructed by some members in the Ashanti region that we should not use the polling station register, and that we should rather use the EC the Electoral Commission polling station register. And that is 4 days to the elections, and it is on purpose. It is so that you are ambushed to the extent that you will not have ample time to have resort to legal remedy. Because the NPP constitution will say that before you go to court, you must have exhausted internal dispute resolution mechanism. So they will wait. They will give you the indication that, oh, the law will work. So that at last minute you are ambushed. And you cannot have any luxury of time to be able to have legal recourse. And so that was what was done to myself and majority of the constituency executives that are with me. 9 out of 15 are with me, and we are in majority. And so the members petitioned, and consequent on that, they applied to the court for injunction. Yes, so that is how it is. The argument also coming from the chairman and his team is that, yes, that is what the guidelines say.
Okay.
But we should change it.
Is your insistence on the application of these guidelines the reason why you are being accused of interfering with the process?
Absolutely. And if you listen to the research officer, his argument is that although that is what the guidelines say, the people in the community will get angry if they are not allowed to come and vote, and that it will affect us in general elections if they are not allowed to come and vote. But my brother, the books were open for more than 1 month. And all persons that were minded, in fact, announcements were done. I particularly sponsored announcements across all the communities in my constituency. If anybody was minded to put down the name, they would have done that. So the issue is that if you are saying that people will get angry if they are not given the opportunity to partake in polling station elections, does it mean that when it gets to constituency executive elections, all the people in the community should be allowed to come and vote? Because that one too, if they are not given the opportunity, they will be angry.
Okay.
If it gets to the MPship, should all members in the communities be allowed to come and vote? Because that one too, they will get angry. If EC opens his books and you are a Ghanaian and you don't go and write your name, can you say you are a Ghanaian and that you can get angry? So even if your name is not in the
register,
you should be allowed to vote.
Okay.
You know, so my brother, that is what is happening.
All right.
The second issue also has to do with the regional rep telling us that he is going to use secret ballot. The guidelines
thank you very much.
If I may finish on this.
All right, just conclude for me.
Yes, the guideline says that any decision regarding the election should be made by the constituency executive committee, moderated over by the regional rep. So he has no decision. He cannot force a decision on the executive. So whether we will do secret ballot or head count, it is the decision. The decision must be taken by the constituency executive committee. In any case, this is not electoral commission's, election. Somebody is going to tear A4 sheets into pieces and then use that for ballot. How do you account for the ballot? What are even the security features? How many ballots will be issued? The excess ballot, whose pocket will it be? Every time they want to mafia somebody, that is what they do. And I've seen it, and I'm not allowing it.
All right, the Honorable Kwabena Boateng, he is the Member of Parliament for Ejiso. Well, away from NPP politics, the Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection, Dr. Agnes Mumulate, is calling on the Accra Metropolitan Assembly to suspend its planned demolition exercise at the 31st December Makola market to allow for further stakeholder engagement. Well, according to the traders, the planned exercise is being undertaken without adequate consultation and, most importantly, without the provision of an alternative trading space before the demolition begins. While speaking to journalists after meeting with the leadership of the traders, Dr. Agnes Mumulate assured them of the government's commitment to peaceful and inclusive development agenda.
Traders operating at the 31st December Makola Market A and B in Accra staged a protest on Friday as they marched to the Jubilee House to petition President Mahama over plans by the Accra Metropolitan Assembly to relocate them from the market. According to the traders, the planned move by city authorities is being carried out without adequate consultation and, most importantly, without the provision of an alternative trading space before the exercise begins. Following the petition, the Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection, Dr. Agnes Namu-Mulati, visited the leadership of the traders at the Makola market and urged the AMA to suspend the planned demolition to allow for further stakeholder engagement.
There's no place that you can have development that there will not be discomfort. But we don't want one side to shoulder all the discomfort. We don't want just the metro to shoulder all the discomfort. Neither do we want the market women and the others to shoulder all the discomfort. So we want to find a middle ground. We bear parts, they bear parts, and then development can take place.
Are you urging the authorities to suspend pending that negotiation?
Yes, that is what I'm saying now, that it will be good that we sit and listen to each other. And most of the things that we've heard, we couldn't substantiate them. And so I'm just saying that they should go into this negotiation devoid of emotions, devoid of hearsays, because those ones, every vulnerable situations, there are people who feed on conflict, they feed on vulnerability. There are people who feed on such situations to, hype whatever the agenda they have. And so I want them to come with a clear mind and understanding. Thankfully, the leadership has agreed to this, and so once they've agreed to this, we're going to sit down and make sure that we make progress devoid of emotion.
In response, the interim market manager Ebenezer Binkrime said the intervention by the Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection would help ensure consensus is reached among all stakeholders.
I think this is what has been denied us, communication between us and the assembly. It hasn't been easy trying to come together to reason on our concerns. You see, it has been bullying and all sorts of things. And I think that we need to be heard. And with this new intervention, I think that we will place ourselves in a situation where they will listen to us and also listen to them. And then we will come to common grounds. We are happy about that. The development comes with some cost, human cost. You see, we have the cost and then we have the benefit. So you balance the two. And our point is that once you have the cost, the human cost of it, you need to mitigate it. That is the term that we use. You need to reduce the discomfort that will come out of the development. Even first and foremost, that is what normal governments do. And this is what is absent. And that is why we have come to a statement. That is why we are in court.
Well, for traders here at Makola, they are not against the government's development agenda. However, they believe that there must be a common ground to ensure that they do not suffer in the relocation effort. Reporting for Channel One News from Makola in Accra, I am Ni Ayukwe Okai.
Well, you're still watching the Channel One Newsroom here on Channel One TV. Still ahead. Homeowners at New Bortianor forced to abandon homes as years of erosion create life-threatening gullies. We are back with details soon. Please stay with us.
The best part of going home is family.
Sit up! Hey, mommy, my wife is cooking something delicious. Go here.
Hot pepper sauce, spicy.
Lizzie Shito, the Shito is Shito. Lizzie Shito, over
Lizzie Shito, please, can I take some to school tomorrow?
Yes, my son, you can. Lizzie Shito, dear. Ebesu obiasu.
Lizzie Shito hot pepper sauce is spicy.
Lizzie Shito hot pepper sauce. Spicy.
For bulk purchase, kindly contact 050-168-3344 or 050-155-0998. This advert is FDA approved.
19 July. Everything can wait. The FIFA World Cup 2026. Catch all 104 matches from as little as 98 Ghana cedis live on SuperSport. Only on GoTV.
Welcome back to the Channel One Newsroom here on Channel One TV. I'm Charles Owusu Kumi. Let's do some other stories. And for decades, turkey tail, popularly known as chofi, has been banned in Ghana over health concerns. However, the product continues to find its way onto the market, with many consumers still patronizing it despite repeated warnings from health authorities. Well, my colleague Makola has been exploring the chofi trade in Nsawam and reports.
It is the turkey still. Well, you may know it as chofi. I'm in Nsawam, where often you would find commuters and residents consuming the protein. But the question is, are they aware of the saturated fat in this protein? And of course, the health risks associated? It was a busy morning in Nsawam, a major commercial hub for chofi in Ghana's eastern region. For Lucy Jewa, who was visiting the area after a long while, the sight of the chofi neatly displayed looked too appetizing to resist, prompting her to satisfy her craving.
Me buy someone me be serobi. By me try mu no chofi no na attract me na me pese me tobi. Me wi bi a chedo ba na dey ase. Me who the way all the way na kata na attract me ti na me pese me tobi na.
Bi so say any healthy fats bebre o me ti na ise bebre wo dey na wati afa ho.
Oh, sa no mu kan dey but ade dey into yen dey into me guy because of fat into onre. We are chilling why they fine. It's like I feel say Mary. It's Mary
Aside from Lucy, who chose to pair hers with yam, many others prefer eating the delicacy with bread. Despite repeated health warnings, Janet, who has been selling the delicacy for decades, insists the concerns are unfounded.
Me ton trophy so 25 years ni. Enye ya de shayema. Yes, Ramu, ye who said trophy. I da trophy now one day it's Miss 1 year.
But is there any truth in these claims by the traders?
The little quantity you have is a lot of energy for you to store to gain weight, and excess of fat also, when stored in your body, can cause the cholesterol to go higher, and you'll be predisposed to heart issues, because they can easily cause your blood pressure to go high. They can even block your cells, and you will not have ease of transaction going on in between the various cells. So easy to gain weight when you eat a lot of chofi, easy for you to have heart issues, easy for you to have hypertension.
Since 1999, turkey tail, also known as chofi, has been banned in Ghana due to its high fat content, with the Food and Drugs Authority issuing fresh reminders in May 2026, urging the public to avoid it. The ban also restricts the importation and sale of poultry products containing more than 15% fat as part of efforts to reduce obesity, high cholesterol, and cardiovascular diseases. The FDA maintains that the importation and sale of turkey tail remain illegal and prohibited. However, questions remain about how the product still finds its way onto the market.
If you are bloated,
Ghana haya na esi ana mokoje.
Na se fie ya koto afia bloated na koto habo na ya beti. Na ya ti a
But why do these gaps persist, with the product remaining accessible on the market?
Now, if you go to Tema, the entry point, you will not get this product coming in knowingly, like with officers looking on. Sometimes you may get some importers themselves mixing some of these things with the other products that they may be bringing. And because these are frozen products, it is not that easy to see.
Well, the next time you decide to go for trophy, health practitioners say just think twice. Because behind that irresistible aroma and sizzling taste could be a dangerous threat to your health. For Channel One News, I am Manuel Ayama.
Well, away from that, years of erosion has created deep gullies, forcing many homeowners to abandon their houses in New Bortianor in the South municipality of the Greater Accra region. Well, several lives have been lost to flooding, and residents are making a passionate appeal to authorities to solve the area's drainage problems. There's more in the following report by our correspondent, Akwesiado.
In Babadogo and Adansiman, suburbs of New Bortianor, in the South municipality of the Greater Accra region, the roads have become completely unmotorable. For commercial drivers, the constant breakdown of vehicles impacts their revenue, making the venture less lucrative.
Ekwan papa bia ni area hanomo a yede car fa so owu atwede ne nam so no bibia betimi asi ne mpese bibi besi na aban mu mpanfo ede car se akese beba begina ha abema ya akọ nso to ana ye bre ọmọ afọntimi kọ mu fie cars ntumi nkọ cars ntumi mba nso de bia ye tu aba cars sa ye di use cars ukoto we ba de chia na asai nti ye bre ye sra ban se ombombo da omutwa ye ni nhwe ye wa ha kakra.
There are no properly constructed drainage systems in the area, leading to massive destruction of roads and the general landscape of the area. Several lives, including children, have been lost in the past to flooding. Heavy rains always present a dangerous situation to residents.
Papa wa hase na sensu itoye enkwara mienu nensu na fa omo wa hase ihu omna do makogu bodiem ho kwara mienu no omu nyina ewu enti ye kwan ene ye program because sensu ne ba onya ba bia amfa.
During the first term of the previous administration, the construction of storm drains was initiated in Babadogo, but the project was abandoned halfway.
A higher kwan a nipa faso car faso a na ye main road ti say kwan ka dia ntumi faso ye ton ade wa ha oba betena fita na pa kop manyumre because of kwan na ase ni nti oba betena ha sa ma ade asa
me do sa last Babadogo ho no mundi ko no nyame nko an kenya bla bia nyame nko an ke so di ko ya no say die.
The main road that linked Adansiman to Babadogo and other areas have now become a gully measuring several feet deep. Residential homes have been left hanging and access completely cut, forcing some homeowners to abandon their homes.
Looking at the house here, as you see, the gate is the erosion is now taking part of the house. Place was a main road that all cars used to pass. Getting access to your house is not a problem. And then when it rains sometimes, some people have to sleep outside because they can't come. Looking at the huge the erosion and the water here has to dry up before you can even get a way to pass to your house. I can't to me for I job you walk on a
Send your man me drew to say then cry or so you know.
Been away you may go and make for me your mabe. This I will go school at this side. Who in fact I say who market and I say who baby now was I drink. Quite about first will be trust I go to Yansana. Over fee.
Was a sooner a fit a dance man, Nissi no ban pressure womb. Tomusha na dear no I see. A bubu ho, a found kola into a more area hanu.
Residents are already feeling neglected by authorities and are earnestly appealing for an intervention.
If a interview a BNA is about 3 years to 4 years now. Na can time up to by this time go ya be can be in a femini egbo ye neke problem ne ye eya musunshan na kan be a fe our future leaders means money mancheme ke onukpa ni yo be.
The assemblyman for the area is only hoping that there will be an intervention from the central government, since according to him, the magnitude of the problem outweighs the financial strength of the municipal assembly.
They are pleading on our big people, the ministry, Minister of Rules, Urban Rules, to come to our aid. We know there are some projects that are going on, but we still need a lot more. So when it comes to roadworks or capital-intensive projects, sometimes they take time. They take a lot of time, so we also have to try and have some patience.
Somewhere around 2022, occupants of this house could access the house by the use of a ladder. This time around, the ladder is no more helpful due to the impact of the erosion. So just like this house and many others in the area, its owners are no longer able to access their homes, causing some to completely abandon their homes which they toiled to build. Residents are calling on authorities to take action on this very issue. For the Channel One News, I am Akwesi Ado Adanseman.
Well, let's now focus on the State Transport Corporation, STC, which is appealing to the public to exercise patience amid concerns of long waiting hours at its terminals and the conditions of some of its buses. Well, management says measures are being implemented to address the challenges, including plans to add more than 100 buses to its fleets by the end of the year. There's more in this report by my colleague Wahab Abdul Razak and read by Daniel Sakite.
The concerns follow a viral video in which some passengers expressed frustration over what they described as poor service delivery and long delays at STC terminals. Responding to the concerns, the Deputy Managing Director in charge of Finance and Administration, Nur Hamidan, explained that the delays are largely due to safety protocols undertaken after every trip. According to him, buses are taken through routine inspections and maintenance checks to ensure they are roadworthy before embarking on another journey. He says the process contributes to long waiting times experienced at some terminals.
You know, we have standards that we actually follow. Unlike any other bus company in Ghana, what differentiates between them and us is the safety. And so when a bus finishes a trip, we don't just load again. It has to go to the workshop for us to just check the cars again and make sure that it is cleared to embark on another trip. And so the reason why sometimes we have a delay is that the bus we just ended a trip would have to go to workshop. And when it goes to workshop and there are issues with a car, brakes or others, it has to be fixed before it comes up.
The Deputy Managing Director, however, acknowledged that the company currently has limited fleet capacity, a situation he says has affected service delivery and contributed to passenger frustration. He appealed to customers to bear with the company as efforts are being made to improve operations.
We have issues with fleet numbers. Currently, we are running around 30 buses that belongs to STC. So obviously, when one is down, it affects the next operation. So customers are right in the complaints that they actually make and the kind of frustrations they go through. What we are pleading with them is to bear with us. We find ourselves in a very difficult situation.
Meanwhile, STC says it expects to add about 120 buses to its fleet by the end of the year. Management believes the move will significantly reduce delays and improve customer experience across its terminals nationwide.
Are in talks with manufacturers and possible partners to be able to get vehicles. But for sure, I can tell you we have signed contract for 120 vehicles. This year, all things being equal, and by the grace of God, if nothing untoward happens, we're going to receive about 120 vehicles. And so you can see that gradually we are getting there.
In the meantime, the company says it is relying on alliance partnerships with other transport operators to address the shortage of buses and reduce pressure on passengers.
We have what we call alliance partners. And these alliance partners, I believe it was started during Ramadan time. when the company was sold down. And the interesting thing about the alliance partners is that if you have a brand new car and you want to partner with us, we take your car and brand it STC and put it in our system. And anytime we finish a trip, you take a percentage, you the car owner, and STC takes a percentage. This is an interim measure to be able to still ply our route.
On now to firefighting. The National Fire Service in the Volta region is cautioning members of the public against crowding and obstructing emergency scenes during fire outbreaks and rescue operations, warning that such actions continue to impede the work of firefighters and places more lives at risk. There is more in this report.
According to the Volta Regional Fire Command, emergency scenes are often flooded with curious onlookers and residents, making it difficult for firefighters to effectively carry out rescue and firefighting operations. The Volta Regional Fire Commander, ACFO2 Joseph Freeman Tete, explained that during emergencies, firefighters require enough operational space to maneuver fire tenders, connect hoses, rescue trapped victims, and contain the spread of fire, adding that interference from the public can delay response efforts and worsen already dangerous situations. Speaking in an interview at Edeba, the Regional Fire Commander added that heavily congested scenes make it difficult for emergency vehicles to gain quick access to affected areas, forcing firefighters to spend valuable time clearing pathways before commencing operations.
We run in to save life or to rescue victims in distress because we have the technicalities, training, and the practicing to do that. It is saddening that whilst we embark on this noble cause, the public, not all, but you could realize that it's a mobilized one, attempts to obstruct our good intention to reach incident scene. When we are running our hoses, you see them, someone believes he's a macho man, he can hold it better, and creating all manner of confusion at fire ground. We do investigation as we are fighting fire. So sometimes we limit people going closer to the incident scene. So when we are restricting them, it is not that.
He noted that, despite logistical constraints confronting the service nationwide, the Volta Regional Command has maintained its fire tenders in good condition to respond promptly to emergencies within the region.
Our water tanker, what have we done? We have coupled a featherweight pump to it to draw the water and throw to a fire scene. So for these 3 or 4 districts that don't have, I have suggested we can turn the water tankers in that way. We could attach featherweight pump, apply the hoses and the branch, and with the skillfulness of firefighters, we can use them to suppress. That is, if a room is given for it to be practicalized, it will work.
So there's no cause for alarm?
There's no cause for alarm in the Volta region, so far as firefighting is concerned.
This is still the Channel One Newsroom here on Channel One TV.
As the sun rises over the city of Accra, its warm glow settles on one of the city's most thoughtfully planned communities, Lakeside Estate, and once again, something exceptional is unfolding. After the successful sale of our 4-bedroom Orca at Lakeside Hills, a new masterpiece is about to make its debut. An exquisite 4-bedroom story Orca home overlooking a breathtaking landscape of the Abri Mountains. This remarkable home now features a total floor area of 330 square meters, set on a generous 7,140 square foot plot.
Experience with the We Hear speakers by Lovi. From the sleek We Hear 1 to the powerful We Hear 2, and now the premium We Hear Pro, fully endorsed by Kylian Mbappe. This is not just a speaker, it's a flexible, high-performance outdoor Bluetooth speaker built to bring your music to life anywhere. With up to 100 watts of music power, you get bold, immersive sound wherever you go. All available in stylish standout colors. Now the good news: from April 20th to May 20th, grab yours at a special discounted price. The We Hear 1 now at 400 Ghana cedis, the We Hear 2 at 900 Ghana cedis, and the premium We Hear Pro now as 3,800 Ghana cedis. Don't miss out. Call 020-195-7739 or pick up at the Atlantic Towers. You can also grab yours at Orange FM Kumasi, Plus FM, or 3 Music TV in Accra. Number 12 Afunya Street at Belengpe. Don't miss out on this special discounted offer. It's the We Hear promo, powered by Lovi. We Hear, feel the power, hear the difference.
For staying with us, this is the Channel One Newsroom here on Channel One TV with me, Charles Owusu Kumi. Now, economic policy analyst Senyo Hosi is asking government to implement bold and decisive policies focused on boosting production and creating sustainable jobs for Ghana's growing unemployed youth population. He explains that having successfully concluded a $3 billion program with the International Monetary Fund, the country must turn its attention to aggressive job creation, increased productivity, and economic transformation to improve livelihoods and accelerate national growth.
Government on Friday, May 15, announced the successful completion of its 3-year extended credit facility program with the IMF. Going forward, government says Ghana will transition to the IMF's policy coordination instrument, a non-financing framework designed to support economic reforms while helping countries attract funding from private investors and development partners. Speaking on current affairs program, The Big Issue on City FM and Channel One TV, Senyo Hosi stressed the urgent need for practical and targeted policies to bridge the country's widening unemployment gap.
The PCI is not a matter of debate. It is a policy validation tool. Credibility tool is not finance. It is great. What policies will back it? Are those policies optimal? Can those policies rather deliver us 1 million jobs instead of what maybe the NDC may be arguing for 500,000 jobs? That is the kind of conversation I want us to start having. Okay. Because this political merry-go-round is not helping anybody. Okay. There are real lives at stake. 500,000 of our youth are joining the employment bond every year. There are no jobs for them. And they will not eat inflation. They will not eat reserves. They will eat income.
Meanwhile, financial analyst and chief executive officer of Daylex Finance, Joe Jackson, cautioned government against reckless borrowing, warning that fiscal indiscipline could push Ghana back to the IMF in the future.
Don't borrow recklessly. Don't borrow to chop, literally. And when I say don't borrow to chop, don't borrow money to pay teacher training allowances. Don't borrow money to have AFCON. Don't borrow money only to invest, to bridge our infrastructure gap.
How about borrow to pay back loans? Because that's something we've been doing for decades.
But that's reckless.
On government's decision to extend fuel relief to consumers, Deputy Chief Executive Officer of the Gaming Commission, Lamtik Apanga, described the move as bold and timely.
We are in a very critical situation where these external shocks are affecting us generally. We need some of these interventions to manage the economy. If we don't do this, the impact on the individuals will be so much. I mean, goods and services, prices of goods and services will shoot up. unnecessarily, and then all the gains we have made from the economy will be lost on us.
Director of Communications for the New Patriotic Party, Richard Ahiangba, further noted that government must strategically use gains from crude oil prices to cushion consumers and ease economic pressures.
Based on the picture they painted for us, they should have found a way to absorb this thing, because when they were in opposition, that's what they were saying. The minister for energy, he was preaching from the pulpit, telling us that how is it that we are exporting oil and crude oil, and then the crude prices have gone up. Where is the windfall? Why don't we use that windfall to subsidize Ghanaians?
Well, away from the economy, former Education Minister Dr. Yao Owusu is pledging to end the issue of no-bed syndrome in the Bosomtwe municipality of the Ashanti region. Dr. Yao Owusu, who is also the Member of Parliament for Bosomtwe, says rallying support among health workers will ensure zero maternal mortality in the district. Channel One News' Middle Belt Bureau Chief Hafi Tijani reports.
Healthcare delivery within the Bosomtwe district is bedeviled with limited resources and infrastructure. One other challenge health workers are grappling with remains the poor road network when it comes to the transportation of patients. The district hospital at Quintinase is not also new to these challenges. Hospital authorities highlight the challenges, especially at the facility's maternity wards.
It's challenging both for the mother first and the health worker. The mother, because she's just delivered, and if you have her being on the ground, it's a bit of a challenge. She will have to undergo CS and a whole lot. So that's, in that instance, it's not good for their health. And then for the health workers to having to nurse a patient on the floor, their back pain issues and all those things, it doesn't augur well.
Member of Parliament for Bosomtwe, Dr. Yao Owusu is well aware of the challenges here and has intervened with the extension of the maternal ward with the addition of 12 more beds.
We want to eliminate maternal mortality or reduce it to the barest minimum in Bosomtwe. So the number of beds there were very limited, about 8 or so. So I decided to add 12 more so that when it comes to delivery, when they come here, there will be a place for them to deliver, and they will not deliver on the floor or they will not be turned away. So I'm excited that today we'll be able to open the extension.
He's pledging to end maternal-related deaths and urged health workers to help address issues of no bed.
So at minimum, at Bosomtwe, what we have done is to make sure we don't confront such a thing. So we're going to do everything possible that all hospitals at Bosomtwe will get enough beds, that nobody will be turned away because there's no bed.
Hospital authorities also enumerated other challenges.
Well, that will be all for today's edition of the Channel One Newsroom here on Channel One TV. I'm Charles Owusu Kumi. Thank you for watching.